I'm so very sorry.
We'll pretend there was
As long
no
as they're-
issue.
As long as they write it for us.
Okay, gentlemen, you guys are back.
All right,
Okay.
we're back. Anyway, the question I was gonna, did it drop out before Tony presented his stuff, or?
I would say, just to be safe, start from the beginning of the first agenda item.
So item A, we're looking to award the bid for the reconstruction of the kitchen building part through Ward Brothers for the total of $22,100.
If I might clarify why we split this out, so we approached United Way along with the 4-H. We wrote the grant, we took the lead on the grant. We worked with 4-H, they were our partners in this. We've sat down with the 4-H they've given us a quick design of the kitchen, the things that they'd like to have. But the building itself, you go back to the late 50s when that building was built, it was parents of 4-H kids. And there was never a deed. The land it's built on was always the county fairgrounds land. And so there was this idea that the building was owned by 4-H, and the county's always respected that. And as a result, we didn't do maintenance. So some maintenance items had gone long overdue. The roof was in bad shape. There were some electrical issues. And so we approached 4-H and asked if we could work with them. We would write the grant, and we would demolish the old building and build a new one. They were agreed to that. It will now officially clearly be county's building. We can operate maintenance on it. We can do whatever needs to be done, but it will be designated for the 4-H as their building. Because that is attached to, or almost attached to, our Exhibit B building, we separated the building of the 4-H building from the siding. Even though the quotes we received sort of lumped them all together, we needed to give the board the option to say we'll do one and not the other. And so item A is just the 4-H kitchen rebuild. Item B is the siding along that same side of the building. And so I just wanted to walk you through why we did it the way we did.
Okay.
Understood? Anybody have any questions?
No.
concerns?
And the roll-up door, we're gonna talk about that, or
That's
in the siding?
siding B. That's item B.
And I did remember seeing that quote in there, but, yeah.
All right, so I entertain for motion.
Well, I move that we approve of awarding the contract to Ward Brothers to replace the 4-H kitchen located at the Greenlee County Fairgrounds using the grant funds from United Way in the amount of $22,100.
And I second that motion.
Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. So ordered. Okay, we'll move into item B.
Okay, item B would be the awarding it to Ward Brothers for the siding of the B and C building. We're going from the outside corner of the office building around the corner and all the way down for right now. So that everything you see from the vendor's row would be brand new. Along with that, we're going to replace those sliding doors with a roll-up door, and we're going to move the walk-in door from the corner of the 4-H kitchen over to the section next to the roll-up door. Easier access for that building.
Okay.
And that's for the total of $21,660.
Anybody have any questions?
860. 21,860?
660.
660. Okay. Well, that's cheaper than what it says on here.
I don't have any questions.
No, I'm just pointing out that we did have two quotes, right? We had Frisco River Homes that also quoted, but they were obviously.
We had their quote. They were a lot higher. They said they'd do us a written one if we needed it, but if they
Right.
weren't going to be the lowest, they weren't going to bother.
Okay.
Okay.
I move that we award the contract to replace the siding and the B and C buildings, exhibit building and indoor vendor space at the fairgrounds using grant funds from United Way in the amount of $51,660.00.
Isn't it $860?
Well, that's what it says here,
Yeah.
21,860, but you said 21,660.
I'm looking at the quote itself.
Is on
It's 21,860.
21,860.
All right,
Went up
Okay,
again.
correction.
Inflation's killing us.
hurry up, make the motion.
Correction, in the amount of $21,860.00
And that's to Ward Brothers, right?
to Ward Brothers Construction.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? Call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay, we will move into item C next.
Okay, item C is for the purchase of a pickup. It has two of them listed here. Only one is available, the service box for facilities. The Rhodes truck was sold out from underneath them at Kempton's, so we had to go back to Courtesy, which is a state contract holder. So the only one we're gonna get is a service box truck for the facilities department in the amount of $70,113.96.
Any questions or concerns? Okay. I entertain for motion.
I move that we approve of the award, to award of bids not to Kempton, but to Courtesy, to purchase one service box truck in the amount of $70,113.96, as presented.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hines.
Okay, we will now move into our next item of business. Reed Larson, County Engineer. Floor is yours.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good
Hot
afternoon.
summer days make me want to tell engineer liar jokes, but I'm not allowed to do that. So, came up with a good engineer accountant joke, but Renee said he'd take me outside and smack me around if I told one of those. So I'm just going to get right to my agenda item.
All right.
We opened bids a couple of weeks ago for the interior build-out of the new Public Works facility. Tony and I met with the low bidder last week sometime and went through their bid in great detail. It appears responsive, and just wanted to present all three of those bids to you. We were fortunate, I feel, to get 3 bids. One was local, one was from our sister county down in the Flats, and one came from up north,
Where was that one from? The second one?
Sholo. The second one was Graham County.
Oh, from Graham County, okay. I wasn't familiar with
Anderson?
that. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I might ask, do we need to build in a slightly higher not to exceed amount for this bid?
We do. That's what Tony and I are hoping for, and I'll rephrase that as maybe generously higher, not to exceed. When we visited with the low bidder, and this is not the fault of any bidders, if it's anybody's fault, it's mine, but there were some items that building needs that none of the bidders addressed because they didn't have enough information to. And an example of that is, just as we've been marching down the road, we've never sat down with our IT folks and talked about what that building needs in terms of IT infrastructure. We know it's going to need a lot of network drops that need to be run and terminated by somebody. We suspect that'll end up being the contractor that we select, but that's an example of a little piece of scope that we don't have numbers on, and ideally we would, if we choose to use the contractor, we would change order that in. So we would ask for some amount above the low bid, which would allow Derek and Tony and myself to receive and review and process change orders at a staff level.
What would you recommend, Reed?
I think I put as a placeholder on your agenda form, 600,000.
And the low quote was
From the lowest-
537,
From the lowest quote.
so that's enough?
I fear that may not be, when push comes to shove and we get toward the end of the thing, but we could either go higher than that, or we could come back to you. This isn't gonna happen overnight, so we can come back to you at some point in the game, if needed, and request another, a higher cap.
Okay. Would it,
I mean,
620?
60,000, contingency, right? I mean, from the 540, we'll say, right, to the 600,000. I mean, you think it's gonna be higher than that?
It could be,
Could be.
so that's probably roughly around 10%. That'd be great, we could roll with that.
would it be cleaner to do it, to come back after we determine what it's gonna cost, to maybe get that done, get a bid off the site, and then come back and,
Well, I would,
or you'd rather do it this way?
I would predict that over the course of this interior build out, well, and so this is a relationship based on trust where they gave us a pretty detailed proposal, but as we discuss with them what we want and what they provided, they're gonna say, here's what we planned on, here's what you want. There's a difference. We don't want to ask them to eat those
Yeah.
differences.
No.
And so the network drops is an example of a fairly substantial change, but there's also gonna be a smattering of smaller changes. And it would just be onerous to come to you for all of those individually. And it would also be unfair to them to wait, let those build up, and then come to you. Because money has time value, and they're gonna want us to process those changes as we go.
Because that quote will be, the ante will be raised by the awarded contractor,
no, sir.
no?
No.
Those are all, they're gonna be separate.
Yeah, we'll start with their base submitted bid, and then the only way that number can change up or down is if we process a change order.
Okay, all right,
So we're just asking for the flexibility to
okay.
do a certain amount of those change orders without having to come back to you.
Okay,
So are you okay with the 600,000? We have that contingency, that 60,000 contingency, and then if there's other change orders after that, I mean, then you bring it back to us? That sound fair enough?
And I think we can know earlier rather than later. This shouldn't be like 11th hour type of request.
Yeah.
Because as we work with the builder, the awarded contract, bidder, they'll be able to identify where they expect, change order, necessary change orders.
What's the time frame for this build out? I mean.
In the perfect world, what's the time
Yeah.
frame?
So they asked us that question, and we said, in fairness to you guys, we're really good at kicking the can down the road and burning up all the schedule and then throwing the monkey on your back. We're not gonna do that to you. So you tell us when you can start. And they have about a 4-week lead time on the floor joists or trusses or whatever those things are called. But those get manufactured by a truss company somewhere. And so he said they'll plan on starting when they get those trusses on site. And then I can't remember what he said for a duration after that, but I think it was 3 or 4 months.
I was just curious.
3 to
Yeah.
4 months, you said, Reed?
Yeah.
Ballpark, I'd say we're looking toward the end of the year.
Okay. All right, well, with everything that's been said, I entertain for a motion.
I move that we award the bid for the interior build out of the new public works facility to Frisco River Homes in the amount of $600,000.00.
Yeah, maybe
As
not to
presented.
exceed 600.
And not to exceed $600,000.00.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. So ordered. Thanks, Reed.
Thank you,
Pretty
Mr.
easy.
Larson.
Okay, so our next item of business is Derek Repair, County Administrator. The floor is yours.
Thank you. This one, National Fiber Optic and Power has become a state contract provider. They've given us their state contract number, vendor ID number. The proposal is to provide lighting for the secondary arena at the fairgrounds. There is some, and part of the pressure is that to have this ready for the rest of the junior rodeo season, part is to have it ready for the fairgrounds. There is not an urgency. I mean, the junior rodeo could finish out without them. The college rodeo used the arena last year. They used the warm-up arena, or the area in between the two arenas, more. However, it is difficult to get wooden poles. We go with metal at about 10 times the cost. But as we've discussed internally, the wood poles match the motif and the overall feel of the rodeo space there at the fairgrounds. We've contacted DVEC about poles. I think they said they were 26 weeks out, so a little bit more than 6 months out. We contacted National Power, and they thought they could. He actually has contacted supplier and reserved. I think it was 10 poles for the job, and so we can move much quicker. But he was concerned that if we wait much longer, that pole supply will also diminish. And then we actually asked if we could maybe borrow from DVEC's on stock pile, and they said they've got to have a minimum of 14 in stock, and that's what they had. And so that's really not an option, and if we miss our window here, we may be out another 6 months or more, which could be exacerbated. I mean, this time of year, one of the things you look for is hurricanes in the southeast. They replace a lot of power poles in that area with weather. So the urgency, is, if you will, is supply chain. And so the bid seems, I mean, it's a state contract bid. It's very reasonable. It saves the county countless hours of trying to develop the bid in-house, finding suppliers. You remember the process went through on the lighting at the ball field. And so our recommendation is to go forward with the bid and select this supplier to erect poles at secondary arena and lighting.
Is there any need for contingency on this? Because I mean, I see that the agenda item's at 80, but the quote's at 73.8, and his quote's lump sum on all three line items. So
I think you could do it either way.
Okay.
And we would simply say, go get it done
Yeah.
at that price.
Okay.
And he wants to move quick. Part of his concern is that if you jump into monsoon season, it's kind of sketchy to start putting things in the air.
Yeah.
When you're the tallest metal thing in the area.
I agree.
Okay. Any more questions?
No, none from this end.
Well, I move that we award to Nationwide Fiber Optic and Power on the state procurement, with the state procurement vendor ID to install the lighting at the secondary fairgrounds in the amount not to exceed $73,862.91.
I second that motion.
Okay. To Nationwide Fiber Optic, if I didn't mention that.
Sorry about that.
I did mention that, sorry.
I second that motion.
You don't need to include the ID number? I mean, it was on there.
No, that's
No?
mostly to
We're
help
okay?
us on the back end with
Okay.
auditors.
Okay, all right. So motion has been made and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, so ordered.
Gentlemen, we wish to thank you for throwing this together last minute. In order to meet some of our budgetary goals for FY26, which affects FY27, we need to make some of these purchases in short order. So thank you for doing this off schedule.
Okay,
It's good to get that out of the way and get those poles locked in, and Continue on with
Thank you,
the,
gentlemen, for coming out this afternoon.
yeah.
Yeah,
Continue
Larson
on with
and Mr.
the
Hines.
infrastructure at the fairgrounds, it's all good. Public Works, we need to get that building done, so let's not wait on us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manus. Thanks, Big
Yeah.
Dave.
He was up at 2, so.
okay, thanks, gents.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Adjourn, I
This
think we're-
meeting is adjourned.
All right, there you go. Hey, what's this email from this Lucy Fiera for